Welcome and thank you very much for checking out my review of The Rental, the directorial debut of Dave Franco starring Dan Stevens, Alison, Brie, Sheila, and Jeremy Allen White in a sort of horror movie that I have a lot to say. So let's start. We follow two couples on an oceanside getaway as they grow suspicious of their host, who is seemingly spying on them on a seemingly perfect rental house. I went into this film basically blind. I knew this was the directorial debut of Dave Franco, I knew Dan Stevens, who I love, and Alison Brie were in the movie. That's really it. Outside of that, I knew nothing about this film. I heard all the puns about scare B&B and whatnot, and I have been to an Airbnb myself before, only once, but I have. This film boasts really good performances from all four leads, and you can tell that is a lot due to Dave Franco, who has spent so much time in front of the camera. He can really bring out the best in his actors as a director once he steps behind for a first time. So that was really refreshing to see, and I was really happy for him because he clearly understands how to direct actors and action and intention in certain words, and every time they speak there's an intention in dialogue, and so he really brought their forth. The film is also shot really well. Not only is there a beautiful place where they are staying at, the film is mostly placed in this one location, in this one house for the most part, and Franco was able to bring the most out of that. He was able to shoot it really well to keep you interested, and again, going back to the performances, the dynamics between the actors are all really good. Apart from that, unfortunately, the film kind of crumbles when you really start thinking about the script and even more specifically the characters, because as great as these actors are, the characters themselves are very thin. This film is mostly tensionless, apart from the last 30 minutes, if I'm being generous. It's a relationship drama that you're not given a lot of reasons to care about. There's clearly a reason why you should be on one person's side and not the other, without spoiling anything. But apart from that, there's really nothing that makes you root for any of these people, particularly over any of the others. It almost feels like one of those scripts where the ideas were left inside the head of the person who was writing it, and because he knows so much about these characters, he didn't even thought about putting it into the script for the audience to get to know them, which is generally something that truly happens, and it's natural that it happens. When you're writing something, you know everything about the characters that you are writing, and sometimes it can escape you to bring that into the script because the audience isn't going to know any of the things you know about the people you're writing about. The film also doesn't have a lot of scares, and this is a horror film, or at least it really wants to be, but this is more of a drama that thinks it has a lot of tension, and then at the end it's suddenly a slasher. I want to talk about the ending of this film, which creates most of the problems I have in retrospect, even though I already had problems as I was watching this film. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending of this film really just doesn't add up. In fact, it barely has anything to do particularly with the characters that we were following throughout this film. It leaves so many questions open. And not the kind of good questions, not the questions that you are wondering about in the future, what's going to happen next. It's like, why did this happen here? What caused the decision to be made in certain aspects of the film? It's just very confusing. It leaves a lot to be desired in terms of a very tightly constructed script. And that's unfortunate because the talent in front of the camera is clear. And clearly Dave Franco has at least a future as a director, at least when it comes to bringing the best possible performances out. And as much as I like the performances in this film, I don't think they are the best performances any of these actors can bring. That's not because of Dave Franco and the direction he gave him, I suspect. It's because the script was so bland. It's because it had little to no characteristics to our characters. It didn't make them pop. It didn't make them individual in any way. It didn't make them stand out. And as characters, these actors could bring almost to nothing in their own strengths. I think if you wanted to show someone this film in the future and say this is how Dave Franco started, it's fine enough and it's a fun exercise maybe to look back on how Dave Franco started, depending on how his career as a director goes down the line. But as of right now, I really don't recommend this one. It's not horrible. It's not one of my worst films of the year. It shows promise for this young man as a director. It just doesn't stand out in any unique way, and it's one of those films that really feels like it's saying something really unique in a very unique way when it really isn't. It's not interesting, it's not filled with tension, it doesn't have anyone interesting in it as far as character is concerned, and the story itself is just very, very bland. I'm giving The Rental a C-. Now, what did you think of The Rental, my beautiful geeks? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what is your favorite film starring or just having Dave Franco in front of the camera. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Stay tuned for many more reviews to come during this weekend. I hope to see you there. Check out the latest episodes of Geeks of the Round Table right now on my channel. Hope to see you there. And so until the next video, stay beautiful, stay geeky, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video because it really helps me and the channel a lot. But most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.